This is the Louie T Network.
We in the lab room. Man, I love some football. Man, I love some football. My favorite week is week 1, cause I'm watching football. But first comes the preseason, and I don't take a day off. And then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. We in the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome. You are in the lab room. I, of course, am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 2 in the National Football League. Denver Broncos at home hosting the Kansas City Chiefs in a little bit of AFC West family business. And big game for the Kansas City Chiefs for a number of reasons. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. You're on the road. It's in the division. You're coming off a tough home opening loss to Tennessee. You want to get this one if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. Meanwhile, the Denver Broncos coming off a tough, hard-fought win against the Indianapolis Colts. You got to get these ones at home. Last week you were at home, got a W. This week, home in the division. You got to have these home games. They're precious in this league. So if you're Denver, you got to take care of business. This is a struggling, reeling Kansas City Chiefs team with all these injuries. You got to make sure you get this one at home if you're Denver. So we start first quarter right out of the gate. Emmanuel Sanders kicks the game off with a huge 48-yard game. And you know, Juice had a huge game last week, 3 touchdown grabs. Well, he picks right up where he left off at last week, gets a catch to get the Denver Broncos down inside the red zone, and then finishes off the drive with a touchdown grab in the corner of the end zone. Beautiful throw by Manning. Even better catch by Juice to get both feet down and extend for the football. It's 7-0 Denver early on in this football game. Penalties derail a promising Kansas City Chiefs opening drive, and they have to punt the football again. When you're on the road, you got to do 2 things. I got 2 golden rules. That's it. Don't turn the ball over. Take care of the football and take full advantage of opportunities. Chiefs squandered numerous opportunities in this game, as we'll talk about that as we continue to break this thing down. But they don't get anything out of that opening drive. Dustin Colquitt does a beautiful job, and he's one of the best punters in the league, of pinning the Denver Broncos deep inside their own territory, which sets up great field position as the Chiefs are able to force the Broncos 3 and out. And that leads to a Chiefs Cairo Santos field goal. That's a name we'll talk about a little bit later. It's 7-3, Denver up in this game, which takes us to the second quarter. Bubba Caldwell now with a very costly drop on 3rd down, and they were deep in their own territory with the Denver Broncos. So that first down could have got them kick-started on another drive, which would have helped them at least flip the field position, if nothing else. But that drop made the Broncos have to punt the football. And this time, the Chiefs are able to take full advantage of this field position that they were getting from the Denver Broncos by putting the football in the end zone. Jamal Charles was injured early in this game. And I think something was wrong with him last week, because remember, last week he only got 7 carries. And Andy Reid tried to downplay it, say nothing was wrong. Something was up. And I think that same injury that he had a week ago reared its ugly head again in this game. And so he was out of this game fairly early. So it was the Nile Davis show, and he got into the end zone, played fairly well in this game in the absence of Jamal Charles. It's now 10-7. Kansas City Chiefs in this football game. Broncos respond immediately with the 7-play, 75-yard drive capped off by a Jacob Tamme touchdown from about 3 yards out. It is now 14-10 Denver in this game, and they quickly jumped back on top of Kansas City. But one touchdown wasn't enough. It was so nice they had to do it twice with the defender draped all over him in the end zone. Double 8 Demaryius Thomas catches a touchdown pass in the end zone. Again, another gorgeous throw by Peyton Manning. What's new? It's now 21-10 as we go into the halftime break. Broncos up 11. So just when the Chiefs thought they were starting to get into a rhythm, they take the lead. Broncos strike back with not one but 2 touchdowns to end the half. It's now 21-10 at the halftime break. We fast forward to the fourth quarter as there are no points scored in the third quarter, and we'll talk about why here in a second. After a scoreless third quarter in which the Kansas City Chiefs put together a 19-play, 10-minute drive, they got all the way to the Broncos' 2-yard line. They had to settle for a field goal, a chip shot Cairo Santos field goal that he was not able to deliver. Hey, Ryan Suckup, anybody? The Chiefs then put together another impressive drive. Starting in the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, they put together another impressive drive. This time, 11 plays, 7-minute drive, getting into the end zone. Knile Davis once again capping off the drive. What a beautiful catch on third down. Alex Smith overshoots Anthony Fasano on a third down. Anthony is able to stab it with one hand, juggle it, and come down with it. It was a key play in that drive that kept it alive, that allowed them to end up getting into the end zone. Now that Denver Broncos lead has been cut to 4, 21-17. Broncos do respond to that touchdown from the Chiefs, but only with a field goal to extend the lead out to a touchdown. So if you're the Chiefs, you've done enough. You've kept yourself in this ball game. You're right where you need to be to strike to make this game tied and send it into overtime. Now you just got to put together one more impressive drive. And the Denver Broncos tried their very best to give this Chiefs team every opportunity to get in the end zone. There was a pick six by Aqib Talib, called back because of an offsides penalty. There was a DeMarcus Ware strip of the football. That was also negated because Alex Smith's arm was going forward. So every opportunity, there were numerous offsides penalties and things of that nature on this final drive to keep Kansas City in the football game. But when it was all said and done, Chiefs get all the way down into the Broncos red zone and cannot get into the end zone. As on fourth down, Alex Smith tries to force it to Dwayne Bowe. He cannot get it to him. The Broncos take over on downs and ends the game effectively as the Denver Broncos hold on in a nail-biter at home versus the Kansas City Chiefs, 24-17. Big win for Denver. Again, at home, within the division. You got to take care of business. You start the season off with 2 home games against 2 tough opponents. You got to make sure you get those wins at home. If you're Kansas City, this is a rough start. And it's not going to get any easier for the Kansas City Chiefs. Losing more players in this game. Don't know the extent of the injury to Jamal Charles. Also, Eric Berry went down in this game. So the Chiefs already a banged up team, losing more players. And so you gotta feel for the Kansas City Chiefs right now. You really don't know what direction they're going to go in. But I tell you what, it was a gutsy performance. Alex Smith played much better in this game than he did in last week's contest against Tennessee. So if the Kansas City Chiefs can get some kind of consistency on both sides of the football and some kind of help, and guys are going to have to step up. Some unsung heroes are going to have to step up and make plays for Kansas City if they're going to get out of this 0-2 hole. But tough loss on the road nonetheless within the division. If you're Kansas City, big win for the Denver Broncos. They're now 2-0 on the season. That's going to do it for this wrap-up of the Denver Broncos hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the Lab Room. Come back and join me as I've got plenty of games to break down in week number 2 of the National Football League. See you in a bit.